Boundaries shattered. Central Texas News Now investigates a scandal that rocked a junior high school.
Details from our months-long investigation and the accusations against an assistant principal at the center of it all. Your Central Texas News Now starts right now.
From the heart of Texas, this is Central Texas News Now 25 Investigates.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Lindsay Lipman.
And I'm Joe Gumm. Late last year, a Connally ISD assistant principal resigned amid allegations of sexually explicit behavior on the job. Now, more than 6 months later, we're learning that the 2018 accusations weren't the first against the educator. Tonight, we show you the results of our months-long investigation into that case. We need to warn you, though, that some of the allegations are graphic and may be difficult for some to hear and see. Vicki is a teacher with almost 30 years of experience, most of that time spent in special education. Her days, once filled with a passion for molding young minds, are now filled with anguish and fear. Vicki asked us to keep her identity hidden, but not her experience.
I could tell he would work very well with our special ed department. He had a good rapport with all the teachers, very friendly, all the kids liked him.
She's referring to John Simpson.
Hi, my name is John Simpson. I'm an assistant principal at a junior high.
Before his promotion, Simpson was hired as a behavior intervention specialist with Connally ISD for the 2017-2018 school year. He was placed at the junior high working with other teachers, including Vicki.
There was nowhere to put him in an office, so they housed him in my room. So we shared a room. It was kind of in the middle of the school, and we shared a room for about 6 months, 5 to 6 months.
Vicki says they shared mutual friends on Facebook and even shared cell phone numbers due to the fact that she often needed Simpson's assistance dealing with certain children in her class.
School stuff mostly. Like I would text him, please come to my room, hurry, I need help. Or, sometimes on the weekend, all the special ed department would text, how did your week go? Boy, it was a tough week, but we would all be included.
Over time, the tone of those messages changed.
At what point, though, did it get weird and with the first message that just didn't feel right or look right?
He sent me a naked picture of his wife. I knew he was probably going to be my boss next year, and I worked in the same room with him. I mean, I didn't know how one responded to a picture of his naked wife.
You were uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
Vicki tells us the conversations continued, something Andy Kahan of Crime Stoppers Houston says should have never happened from the beginning.
A teacher cannot. They're in a trustworthy position. They cannot be seen deviating from that position. They can't be doing any types of sexting, any types of that you and I would be criminally charged with.
At the end of the year in May, I reported it to one of our assistant principals that I was very uncomfortable. He was creeping me out. I think I used that word. And I do not want to be left in the room alone with him. So I reported to my assistant principal that he was sending me inappropriate texts.
That assistant principal, Vicki and other female employees at Connally Junior High went to, is a man we'll call Mike. Mike felt uncomfortable being in front of our cameras, so we spoke to his attorney, Raymond Sanders.
I think assistant principals often are kind of the middleman between the front office and the teacher, so naturally they were coming to him first. And him being cautious and not wanting to cry wolf for no reason, he collected a little information, and once he realized, yes, he believed there was a problem, that's when he tried to get in contact and get a meeting with the Principal Brown.
That meeting with the Connally Junior High principal, Thurman Brown, finally took place on May 22nd, 2018. What you're about to hear is Mike informing Principal Brown about the allegations. Assistant Principal Annie Connor was also in the room. We've altered Mike's voice for privacy.
You're saying that someone is sending inappropriate text messages and Facebook messages.
According to records we discovered, it wasn't the first time John Simpson had made someone uncomfortable at a school. Through an open records request to the Texas Education Agency, we found hundreds of pages of documents related to Simpson's previous jobs and performance. The documents included sanctions and even suspensions at other jobs, including Ennis ISD. Before Simpson was hired at Connally ISD, he was also suspended by the TEA in the 2016-2017 school year. Prior to the initial complaint, Vicky says Simpson asked her if he could send more personal and private pictures, and even suggested she send illicit photos to him. Feeling pressure that if she didn't step in front of the camera herself, Simpson would use it against her if he ever became her boss.
That's what I was felt an obligation I had to report it, because I've had several teachers say something to me about it, and an employee themselves that's been getting the messages.
Okay. So who's the person sending the messages?
Mr. Simpson.
Okay.
After that meeting on May 22nd, Mike was called to the administration building for a meeting with Connally ISD Superintendent Wesley Holt and Larry Cumby, the district's chief human resources officer. In that meeting, Mike told both men the same thing he told Principal Brown and Assistant Principal Annie Connor, that Simpson was sending inappropriate and sexually explicit electronic messages to female employees.
He was cautious in the beginning to make sure that what he was, going up the chain wasn't frivolous and confirming it, and then setting up the meeting. But it's as if they didn't want to hear that.
The next day, May 23rd, Mike sent Larry Cumby an email. In part, it said, "As I shared with you, female staff members have reported that Mr. Simpson was sending them inappropriate electronic messages." On May 24th, the day before school was let out for the summer of 2018, Mike was told that his tenure was over at the junior high and was forced to leave the premises immediately with a police escort. And who did Brown choose to replace Mike as assistant principal? John Simpson. When we reached out to Connally ISD in January, the law firm representing the school district, Walsh Gallegos, responded with a statement, in part saying, on November 5, 2018, Connally ISD administration learned of alleged inappropriate conduct consisting of sending inappropriate electronic messages to another Connally ISD school employee. Other than the initial complaining witness, Connally ISD has no information regarding any inappropriate electronic messages being sent by the employee to any others in the Connally ISD community.
That's wrong, and if it wasn't for the recording that my client has, they might get away with that. But the fact is, they knew May of last year, toward the end of the school year, well before they let him come back in the fall of 18.
After months of ignoring questions and requests for an on-camera interview, we finally caught up with Connally Superintendent Wesley Holt.
Mr. Gumm, you've been asked to speak with our legal department concerning this.
Right, but we also set up this. We said option A, we could do it in your office. You've been avoiding these questions. Tell the parents and our viewers that you didn't put the kids in harm's way by hiring someone like this.
When you want to hire teachers and administrators, particularly working in a school district, I mean, you have got to do your due diligence. That just doesn't involve a criminal background check. It doesn't involve looking in the county that you're hiring somebody for. I mean, you got to do basically a national search. You got to dig into their entire background. It's particularly in cases involving those who are moving from school district to school district to school district.
By the time school started in the fall of 2018, Simpson was an assistant principal, and part of his job meant observing and auditing Vicky's class from the back of her room.
And then at the end of October is when I got the first penis picture of him from the school bathroom in the office.
Months later, Vicky claims that the harassment escalated when she received a text from Simpson asking her to meet in the school's book room.
When my direct boss tells me to go to the book room, I'm going to go to the book room. Luckily, there was another teacher in my room. I said, I'll be right back. The book room's right across from my room. The door was open. The light was on. I walk in the book room. There's some Lysol wipes on the floor. I bent down, they're in that cellophane paper. I was struggling to get them out. I could hear Mr. Simpson behind me. Then I heard the door shut. I didn't really even think anything of it. I'm still fiddling with the Lysol wipes. And then I could see him go behind me. And I heard him say, "Don't worry, no one else has a key to this room." And that's when I turned around. He had his pants and his underwear down, masturbating. And I don't even remember what I was thinking. I turned, I looked both ways, and I ran back to my room.
On November 5th, Vicki says Connally ISD Police Chief Ronnie Price, Holt, Cumby, Connor, and Brown all encouraged her to press charges against Simpson. After a few months, Chief Price sent an email to Vicki that said, "I will need a desire to prosecute or a desire not to prosecute form signed by you before I send the case to the district attorney's office." Robert Callahan was a prosecutor for 4 years and worked on cases like this one. He's now in private practice.
These are cases that prosecutors care about. These are the type of victims that we care most about protecting. Take the information that's been gathered by law enforcement, give it to the district attorney's office. Let them make the decision, and that's what they're trained to do, on whether or not they believe that there's sufficient evidence to take the case to a grand jury.
When I first started this, I wanted to make sure that he never made anyone else feel like he made me feel. He almost changed my view on education. Like, how can people do this to other people? So when I first started this and decided to go forward with this, people would come up to me and say, "Well, why are you still talking about it? It's over." And in my head, I'm thinking, it's not over. It's in my head every minute of every second of every day.
As of the airing of this story, Connally ISD Police Chief Ronnie Price has still not turned in his findings to the DA's office or the McLennan County Sheriff's Office. It has now been more than 6 months since the investigation started. Now, we don't know if John Simpson is currently working at a school. We do know that he's never been arrested or prosecuted for any crime. We gave John Simpson the opportunity to respond to our investigation about a month ago, but he has not responded to those requests.
Now, we have much more on this and the Texas Education Agency. We wanted to know why the TEA has not revoked Simpson's teaching certificate. That's all at KXXV.com. We'll be right back.